I'm in Huntsville, Ontario, wild camping in one of the coldest nights so far in January. So I like to see how the diesel heater and all the amenities that I have worked on the last while works out in cold weather camping. Just do some wild camping up north in Ontario during the winter. So I hope you'll join me as a Ronin OnTrail. So for those of you who live 4 seasons in your car, your van, or your SUV, you'll come to the quick realization that in extremely cold weather, if you don't have the heater on, your memory foam turns into a very uncomfortable mattress. The memory foam retains the rigidity because of the cold ambient temperature, and it takes a long time for it to decompress in the heat. I removed my memory foam mattress at the end of autumn going into winter, and I've replaced it with my hiking Thermarest sleeping pad, my hiking inflatable Thermarest mattress, and I cover my mattress in a down quilt. And once the springtime arrives, I'll replace my Thermarest mattress with my memory foam mattress. So I just want to let you know that.
Set myself aside, lead the way on this trial. If you don't know the way, we can stop and make a change. I know we walk for days, losing hope, fading love. This night will be okay, waking up to another day. Myself aside, lead the way on this trial. If you don't know the way, we can stop and make a change. I know we walk for days, losing hope, fading love. This night will be okay, waking up to another day.
I learned the importance of a vehicle safety check when I served as a paramedic for 20 years. It's always the little things that will keep you out of trouble. When you turn your engine on, make sure all the warning lights turn off. It's also important that you lubricate anything that articulates, your hood struts, your rear hatch struts, door hinges, as well as your lock systems. Before the winter set in, I made sure I got a winter tune-up, new spark plugs, winter wiper blades, an oil change, and I replaced my car battery. Before you go wild camping, make sure you check your battery terminals, your hoses, and your belts. It's important to check that your radiator, your front grille, and your headlights are free of ice and snow. It's also important to check your tire pressures when your tires are cold. Even though I have a small vehicle that I call my tiny home, living in 25 square feet of living space, I always make sure I have more of the things that are important: batteries, extra windshield wiper fluid, and fuses. As an old guy with bad knees and a bad back, I always make sure that I wear knee pads when I go outside in ice or snow. And I also carry a mini Thermarest knee and bum pad if I have to lie down in the snow. A life-saving vehicle circle check, looking under your vehicle and inspecting your diesel heater fresh air intake and your diesel heater exhaust pipe to make sure it's free of ice and snow and the chance of asphyxiation from carbon monoxide. Some of the tips, tricks, and hacks I learned while I was on the road, as well as when I was a paramedic. Not only do I find it useful, but it's also a safety feature that I've used time and time again. This simple and cheap hack has saved my butt many times. I simply get a garbage bag or a shopping bag and I wrap my mirrors, and I also cover my front window. I use Reflectix, but you can also use a tarp or a garbage bag. I can't afford a winch. I can't afford a high-low jack. The cheapest and most reliable pieces of equipment that I do use on a regular basis are my shovel, salt, and my traction boards. You can also use the traction board as a shovel. Another piece of equipment that I have used successfully is the NOCO battery boost. My old vehicle battery that I replaced just didn't start one day when I was camping, and I had to use the NOCO boost battery pack. I've used my EcoFlow portable battery chargers many times, and my solar panel in optimum sunlight charges my battery, I think, in a couple hours. I use a candle lantern. I like the candle lantern because it is wind and fire hazard resistant, and it can house candles that burn for up to 9 hours. One life skill hack that I learned when I was a paramedic is placing all your essentials, your tools, your health and safety equipment in a small backpack. This is probably one of my most fundamental and best hacks that I have created for myself. I place the essential items in various different clear Ziploc bags so I can see them. And I also keep my NOCO portable battery booster pack in my backpack, as well as my jumper cables. It's a must to have a lock de-icer. If you're stuck and you don't have a lock de-icer or you run out, the alcohol in a hand sanitizer actually works. The one cool hack is the propane torch. I can use my Leatherman tool to hold my key, carefully and gently warm the key up and insert it into the lock system, and hopefully that the warm key will thaw out the frozen lock. Even though I try to live a minimalist life, the one thing where more is better are the essentials that could keep you alive and safe. It's the simple things: extra propane, matches, a Bic lighter. Glow sticks come in very handy, as well as a headlamp. Sometimes a headlamp is better than a flashlight. And it's always better to have more batteries. The one hack that might help in extreme cold weather when you're camping, if you're concerned about your battery not turning over in the morning, is before you go to bed, turn your engine on and let it run for a bit to charge your battery. And in the morning, do the same thing. The only insulation I have is 1-inch foam insulation and 3/4 inch plywood on the floor. And I just have the regular insulation that's in the vehicle. There's nothing wrong with the propane heater as long as it's a reputable one. It has a tip over and has a low O2 sensor so that it will automatically shut off. It seems like the diesel heater is more of a dry heat, whereas the propane is a wet heat. I experienced that when I lived in a tent. My tent walls were always wet, and when it's extremely cold, my walls on my tent would freeze, and when it would thaw, I would have like a half an inch of water inside my tent. I have a blanket behind me. I have a backup sleeping bag. I use my diesel heater as my primary source of heating. I have my propane heater, my little buddy heater as my secondary source. I can use my vehicle as a heating source. And worst case scenario, I can always leave and park on a street, at a Walmart, a family member's driveway, sleep on a family member's or friend's couch, or go to a motel if necessary. So there's multiple things that I can do to compensate for cold weather. I also have a down jacket in case I have no heating at all. I wouldn't want to sleep in minus 30 Fahrenheit, minus 35 Celsius weather. I have done that, bundled up. It's very uncomfortable, and you don't sleep all the way through the night. You'll wake up cold. It's the little things that get cold. The tip of your nose. When your eyes are closed, your eyelids get cold. Your ear tips get cold if your hat pulls away. Your toes as well get cold. I have bad knees, so my knees get cold. I've experienced the big suck of cold weather. I have lived in a tent for 2 winters, as well as extreme heat and humidity when I served as a medical mission paramedic and doctor's assistants in El Salvador and during the Haiti earthquake, and that was atrocious weather. Don't put yourself in a position that you don't have to be in, and try not to be a martyr or use your ego to say you can push through it. If you have the resources and the help to compensate for the cold. So I also have little things like hand warmers, and you can put in your socks in your sleeping bag at your foot end. I have a hot water bottle that I can heat up my kettle and put hot water in my hot water bottle. Some people use an electric blanket. I don't do that. I also have a larger hand warmer. It's you can put it on your torso or underneath your armpits if you get extremely cold. But that's just part of my survival and first aid kit. I'll only use that if I have to. I don't have a lot of clothes, but the clothes I do have are functional and serve a purpose. I have good footwear. I have proper headwear and handwear. And I have multiple layers of blankets and quilt and sleeping bags to keep me warm as well. And multiple options of heat source. If you want to try winter camping in a vehicle, it's very doable, even in Canada, even when it's minus 35 Celsius, minus 31 Fahrenheit outside. As long as you're prepared, as long as you have options, and as long as you have a backup plan, and people know where you are. And if I have no Wi-Fi, I can always communicate through my inReach and use my phone to send out texts, as well as call the emergency services if I'm in trouble. It helps to know east and west, and helps to know to read a compass. But this is not a survival channel. This is not a doomsday channel. This is not a prepper channel. This is just an old dude living out of his SUV and help motivate and empower other first responders, war veterans, and everyday heroes. I'm always going to do my part from stopping a fellow brother or sister from killing themselves. There are people out there who are willing to watch your back and help you out. And I can speak firsthand about that. It sucks sometimes. It's a small space, but I don't mind small spaces. I spent over 20 years in the back of an ambulance. This is like retro to me. Perhaps someday I'll step up to a pickup truck with a camper top in the back, but right now this suits me fine. I think I have footage of me driving four-wheel drive along some back trails. I know that a van or a family Dodge Caravan or a minivan would not be able to navigate some of the roads that I went on today because of clearance and because of the depth of snow, and that most minivans do not have four-wheel drive. So that's one of the primary reasons why I got an SUV or over a minivan or a van, because I live in Canada. This is a four-season vehicle. I live four seasons. I don't go down south to Arizona or Florida during the bad weather. I stick it out. I hope this helps. I hope you learned a little bit. If you have any suggestions, any comments that are positive and helpful and educational and motivating, please leave your comments. This channel is for old dudes like me and first responders and war veterans and everyday heroes and people who are somewhat lost but on the road to finding their path, their journey, their story. That life on the road, life in a tiny home, is a journey. I've seen so many YouTube videos, YouTube channel creators, that when they get to that point, they usually either quit or they sell their vehicle. So thank you for joining me as a Ronin OnTrail.